Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the One Pot Wonder today. Today is session 4 of class 4. We are coming to the end of our program here. We have another 2 classes after today, and then we'll be wrapping up this program for the time being. I just want to give a great big thank you to all of our sponsors and our volunteers, our supports that we have with the Lethbridge Foundation, the Food Center here in Pincher Creek, the Co-op, the Creekside Community Church for their donation of the kitchen, and am I missing anybody? Pagani Child and Family Services, who've offered to help with the deliveries, and Kayla Ray, who is behind the camera and helping to do our video and is my sidekick to keep pushing me forward. So a great big thank you to you all, and your food bags should be coming out. You'll probably receive your food bag before this video is out, but we try to have our video or our deliveries out between 1 and 4 o'clock. So every Tuesday that will happen if you're in our program. So with that being said, let's start cooking. So today we are cooking the chicken and stuffing casserole. It's a very easy, simple recipe. And if you're wondering why we're getting so much chicken, we've had some very good donations that have come through, and had some great discounts. So we're just coming up with a variation of different recipes that you can use each week. And I mean, the chicken's so versatile, you can use it in absolutely anything, to be honest. So however, next week we'll have a little bit of a change up, and for this week we're gonna just do the chicken casserole, and we're gonna get the rice on, and we're gonna cut up our chicken, and we'll meet you over at the stove shortly. Okay, so in your bags you are going to have another big bag of rice, and it's on the back of your bag. It gives you the instructions on how to make it. So just a little tip so that rice doesn't get mushy. You do 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. So I have 4 cups of water at the moment, so I'm going to do 2 cups of rice. So before putting your rice in, I've put some oil and some salt in the water. And the oil helps from it being really sticky, as well as you always want to, don't overfill your water. Like, don't fill your 1 cup up to the brim. Just go to the actual line of the cup, because it does make a difference. And it's better to have a little less water than too much water. So we're gonna put this in and let this cook. And keep in mind, this is not minute rice. This is basmati rice. I always say that wrong. And this will take about probably a good 15 minutes. But again, your instructions are on the back, and I do recommend just covering your lid, give it an occasional stir, and just let it sit. Put your temperature on about medium. You don't need it on high because it'll burn and your water will boil off. So just put it on about medium and just let it sit for a bit, and we'll be back shortly with the chicken. Okay, so I've cut the chicken into small cubes, as you can see, and I have a little bit of onion that's kind of underneath here. The recipe doesn't really call for onion, but I'm going to just add a little bit, just to add a little bit of extra flavoring. And so we're gonna cook this chicken first. You don't wanna put the chicken into the casserole raw. It definitely needs to be cooked first, and it does indicate in your recipe that. So we're gonna let this cook for a few minutes. And while it's cooking, I'm also going to add in, if you happen to have some garlic powder or garlic cloves, add a touch of that. And unfortunately, my apology, but it wasn't in the recipe and I didn't think to get the extra garlic prior to today's class, so my apologies. If you have any though, you could add that in. You could add some salt and pepper in. You could add, I wouldn't add like Italian unless you're wanting a different flavor, because keep in mind it's a stuffing that you're going for. And the other thing that if you have, you could add some poultry seasoning, and I do believe maybe you might have had one in your little bag of poultry seasoning in your first class. You could certainly add a little bit of that into your chicken while it's cooking. And yeah, so we're gonna just put the lid on this and let this cook for a few minutes, and we'll be back. So while the chicken's cooking, we're just gonna do the rest of the preparation. And so what we need to do is to take 1 cup of milk. Now this will be for a serving of about 6, so keep that in mind. So we've got 1 cup of milk we're gonna put into a bowl. And we have 1 can of the cream of chicken soup, which we'll put into the bowl as well. And if you don't care for mushroom soup, some people don't like mushrooms or they're allergic to it, you do not have to use the mushroom soup. You could substitute this with cream of celery soup or another can of cream of chicken soup. But the recipe does call for 1 can of mushroom soup and 1 can of cream of chicken soup. So we'll put that in. And we're going to just mix this up, the milk and the soup together. I need that again after. So we'll just stir this up. So then once your chicken is cooked, you bring your chicken over and put it into the bowl. We're gonna mix it all up together. And you'll notice that you have some green beans in your bag this week. If you prefer not to put them inside of your casserole, you don't have to. For today's class, we are going to do that. It just adds an extra nice flavor to it. You can do your vegetables on the side, or I do believe that last week, if you haven't used all of them, you could use your peas and carrots. And so you're just gonna mix all of that together. And so then in your casserole dish or your roaster or whatever you choose to use, you can put all of your ingredients together, and it will go into the casserole. So you're gonna preset your oven to 350, and then it will bake. It should bake for at least, how long does it say here? Yes, for at least 20 to 25 minutes. Keep in mind that everything is pre-cooked. And then the topping that we're going to use, this is the stovetop stuffing with Kraft. It's the same as the recipe, except the recipe called for Pepperidge Farm, but it's the same concept. But you're not going to add water to your stuffing. We're just going to keep it a dry ingredient, and then your B-cell butter that you have in your bag, we need to mix the quantity of the butter into the stuffing, and then that will go on top of your casserole, and then we let it cook for about 25 to 30 minutes would probably be best. And you'll have a pretty good idea because it'll all start to kind of thicken up. And you can you don't have to make rice. You could use potato. You could just eat it by itself if you choose. But for today, we've made the rice, and we'll put this over top of our rice. But we'll just wait for our chicken, and then we'll be back. So our chicken is finished, and if you have use your chicken when it's a little bit frozen, that's fine. But you'll notice after the chicken's cooked that it has quite a bit of water on it. So I do suggest that you just drain it off, which I'm gonna do right now. And there is a strainer in the sink. And so we're gonna just drain that water off. We're gonna reuse this, excuse me for a sec. We are going to reuse this pot. And we are going to, I'm just gonna set that there for a sec. Maybe we'll bring it over here. So we're going to put the chicken into the milk and soup mixture. And we will give this a stir to mix it all up. Now keep in mind, if you want to add your garlic into your chicken or a little bit of extra poultry seasoning, salt and pepper, I wouldn't go too crazy on variation of spices, just because it will take away from the flavoring of the soup, which is what you want, because that's what will give you that stuffing flavor along with your topping. So, so we're going to put some beans. I would say for this will be a serving for 6, so I would put about a cup of your beans. Actually, I'll put 2 cups because it's, there we go. So we will put the beans right into the mixture and mix this up as well. And then we're going to pour this back into, if you have a casserole dish, you could use that. This pot is absolutely wonderful because it is oven safe. And you can make soups with it, casseroles, a really great variation of recipes, and you can just use it right in the oven. So we'll put this into the pan and we'll be right back. We're just going to get the preparation for the stuffing and we'll be back in a sec. So I just wanted to quickly show you the rice. It is absolutely ready. The key to it is not to scrape your bottom of your rice too much. If it has a crusty film on the bottom, which this one does, you can start to see. You don't, it almost looks like it's kind of burnt, which it's very dark brown, but that's okay. Just don't scrape the bottom of that if it gets to that point for you. And some people really like it. If you don't, that's fine. Just be very gentle around it. And so you can see that it's quite fluffy. And again, the key is to put 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. A little less water is best, just so that it isn't gooey. And so we're gonna go and put the topping on the stuffing on top of the casserole, and we're gonna put it into the oven. Your temperature is gonna be about 350, which I've already pre-set. You could put it about 375 if you like. Just monitor it closely, and yeah, and we'll meet you over at the counter. Okay, so I'm using 2 boxes of the stuffing. You don't have to, but the boxes are, you know, they're fairly small packages, so you should each have 2 boxes in there, in your bags. And so it calls for 8 tablespoons, which is about 1/4 of a cup. So I've got, where'd my spoon go? Thanks, Kayla. So So we're gonna put the butter into these dry breadcrumbs. We don't follow the instructions on your box of your stuffing. We do not need hot water with this. We just want to use this as a crust topping because it's going to get the liquid from your casserole. And I have a little extra. I'm gonna just put a little extra in here because we have 2 boxes. And so you don't want it like dripping with butter. You just want to moisten it, yeah. And then we're going to bring the casserole. Excuse me on that. And we're just going to put it on the top as a topping. And as I said, once this is ready to go, you pop it in your oven for about, you'll have a good idea. I would say 20 to 30 minutes. Like it calls for 20 to 25 minutes, but just keep an eye on it, and it will, because you just want your flavors to blend. And if you don't have a lid, use some tin foil, cover it for about halfway through for about, excuse me, about 15 minutes, then take it off so that your topping can brown. And I'm gonna go pop it into the oven and we'll come back with the results. So I'd like to share with you the end product, and you can put your casserole over your rice on the side, however you choose. With a nice side salad, it would be beautiful. And I would love to hear your feedback if you like it or what you'd like to change up, what maybe you did differently. And yeah, give us a post and a photo if you can in the Facebook Messenger group. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next week for hamburger soup. And until then, take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. Bye for now.